Okay. So, guys, how are you? Stacy, Claire, Memory, Ken, how are you doing, guys?
We are
Oh,
doing fine.
okay, cool. Super. So, this time tutorial is about how to set up your SQL environment. So, I prepare something to share with you. Yes, maybe it's gonna help you in a weekly challenge. I don't know, depending on how you will take it. We can it could help because SQL is the standard language to query database today. And if you have a lot of lines with Twitter, I think you can just stream the data in SQL if you find it more easier than pandas. Feel free to use whatever you want. The most important is you are able to answer your questions and to make your report. So now I'm starting. Let me see. I will share my screen. Um, let me see. Let me see. Yes, so I made the recording. I think you can actually have it in. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so this one I will just delete it because okay. So you have the video recording, the screen recording in the today folder. I think I managed to upload it today. So now this tutorial is about SQL environment setting up, and where did I put? Okay, so in your today folder, you have the following things. So you have the screen recording of what I have did so far, and you also have the Jupyter notebooks which describe your everything. So now I think it's somewhere, I don't know if. Give me some time to see. Why did I put those in? No, not here. I just managed to. Okay, okay. So I think we are starting from here. Yes, we are starting from here. So this is a description of how can you actually set up. Last time during the pre-assessment week, we just used SQLite, which was already integrated with Python, and it's very useful for small data mining tasks. If you want to query your data and they are not so huge, you don't have a lot of data, you can actually use SQLite, exactly like we use in the previous so in the week 0. So now this is more about MySQL, a database system, database management system, and so I want to show you how to set up this environment and how to connect it with Python, exactly like we did with the SQLite. Yes. So now, so I'm starting. So setting up a MySQL connector Python. So for to do that, to you need to have some prerequisites. So in terms of prerequisites, you need to have administrator privilege to perform the installation. You need to install a Python in your machine. You also need to install MySQL in your machine. So all those things you can actually do it. You have already Python, and then you will just have to download and install MySQL itself. And so this tutorial apply to Python version 2 or 3, and Actually, I think you are using the version 3, and now MySQL version created on 4.1. So I think the actual version of MySQL, it should be 8.0.1 or something like that. So we are aligned. And now, so the ways to install actually MySQL connector in Python. So first of all, you after you just install your MySQL, you will need to install the MySQL connector Python using the pipe command. So from your Anaconda. So later, I think I have in one of the notebook is something which is describing how I think you will have a link in one of the notebook. I don't know if it's this one or yes, I think it's this one. So you will have a link somewhere here for a very useful video for how to install MySQL itself. So now, how do we install the connector, the MySQL connector Python? We can actually install using pipe command in the Anaconda prompts. You guys know how to do that. You just have to start your Anaconda prompt. If you are running in Windows, then you just start typing Anaconda and it will appear. Then you will have to run the pipe command to install your MySQL connector Python. So the second way is about the source code. Yes, the source code as a zip file or a TRI file. So you will have to download this and install manually. And now the third way of doing that is using through the build distribution. Yes, so those are the three ways we can actually use. And now the Python MySQL connector version. Yes, so this is a table where you have actually the Python version, the connector version, the MySQL itself version, and the supported Python distribution version. So actually using I think using the Python 3.7 with the Anaconda distribution. So I think I will be somewhere here. So that's yes, I was telling you with MySQL, we already have the 8.0. We have, I think we have also the 8.0.1, but it's okay. So we have this and we have the connector version. So there is three things. You have the Python and you have the MySQL also installed in your machine, and you will have also the connector installed in your machine. So now, how do we install actually the connector when we already have the Python and the MySQL in the machine? So using the pipe command. Yes, so this is the pipe command you will actually run in your Anaconda prompt so that you can easily install the 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 MySQL connector Python. So now sometimes you can actually deal with some errors like about the version you are going to install. If you want to specify that, just use this sample of code to specify. So the version is 8.0. I think 11. So this is the last one, I think, but check it. So normally the first comment should do the work, because I use that to install, I think, about 3 days, but it works. So you can actually use that. So now this is all this is on Windows. Yes, so this is the way to install using the pipe command. You can actually install using simply this simple of code, or if you want to specify the version, you can actually use this one. And if you're still having some error about certificate verification, then you can actually use this. So those three sample of code will help you installing the MySQL connector Python. So now, after that, you will see if you are successful in the installation, you can actually see something in your screen, in your Anaconda, something like that. So that you have the collecting MySQL Connector, Python, downloading package, requirement already satisfied, blah, blah, blah. And so at the end, you see successfully install MySQL Connect Python 8.0.13. So yes, so now if you have this means that you have been successful in the installation of your MySQL Connector Python, and then it's probably ready to be used. So now, how can you actually download the MySQL Connector Python on Windows? Yes. So I told you here that we have three ways. We have the way using the pipe command, and we have the understanding the following. Okay, so we have the pipe command connector, and we have the way which use directly the source code, and we also have the build distribution way. So now I'll show you how to use this pipe command to install in your Anaconda prompt using the following sample of code. Now moving to the second kind of installation way, you can actually use directly the source code distribution, which you can actually download. Yes, it's formatted as a zip file, and then you will unzip and install. So now this is the second way, and the third way is about the distribution, the build distribution. Yes, so now how do you actually insert using the source code distribution? Here I just provide a link where you can click actually and go in the web page where from where you can actually download your source code. If you don't want to download to install through the pipe command, you can actually use this one. And now, so after you just download this, you will follow the below steps to install your MySQL connector Python. So first of all, you have to unpack and extract the zip archive in the intended installation directory, and then you will start a console windows and change the location of blah blah blah. So here you have the steps if you choose to use the second way, not the pipe command, to install your MySQL Anaconda, your MySQL Python connector. So you have three steps to do that, to check for to do the installation after you download the source code. And now how do you verify you are aligned, you get it on board? So you have those 3 points highlighting how do you check quickly if your MySQL connector is ready to use. As I have already shown you at the top, how do you do that in the simplest way with pipe command? I will let you guys read this document to see the one you prefer. If you prefer using the source code, then you will have, I think everything is described in the notebook. You have to follow the steps and you get it on board. And now doing the same thing in Linux. For those who are using Linux, this is something, the steps to actually download your connector. I think for those who are using Linux, there is two ways. So the first one refers to the installation using the source code distribution, and the second one refers to the installation using the build distribution. Yes. So now you can actually use one of those two ways to install. So now to go to the web page, you can actually download your MySQL Connector Python. For Linux, you can just go here. I provide here the link, so you can actually click on that and go and actually try to download. So now after you complete the download, now you will have to install. So how do you install? I describe the process here, so you can actually follow to make sure you have it in your Linux system. So now How do you verify you have the MySQL? Yes, to verify the installation, use the following steps. So the steps are just described here so that you can follow and check if you really have it. And now doing the same thing with Mac OS, yes, you have something here to do the same thing with Mac. And how do you verify? Yes, you also have something. So now this is a quick introduction to the MySQL connector Python. How do you get it on board? How do you set it up? And once you have do that, once you have do that, now you will just let me see. You will just use it. You will just test it. You will just test it. So remember, I just told you that before you install the MySQL connector Python, you actually need the Python installed in your machine, and you also need the MySQL itself installed in your machine. And for MySQL, you can do research to install MySQL directly, or I think I provide it somewhere here. Let me see in this notebook about the I describe. Okay, yes, I think it's okay. Here, before we begin, we will need to install MySQL Workbench and MySQL Server. So here is a video tutorial explaining how to install both and set everything up to start collecting the data. So now I actually provide the link here for you guys to install the MySQL Workbench and the MySQL Server as well. So this is not the only one resource. You can just go on internet search by yourself and install it. But once you do that, you will just get something like this. So I did it before. That's why it's open. But I'm running in Windows. If I actually start typing in the Windows start menu, I will just start typing MySQL. So MySQL, and you will just have it appear. So you have the MySQL shell, and you also have the MySQL Workbench 8.0 app. So now you can use both. So if you are successful in the installation of MySQL itself, you should be able to get those two here in your Windows start menu. And yes, so this is the interface of the MySQL workbench. So you also have the shell, the MySQL shell. Here you can actually choose to work in the shell, or you can actually choose to work in the workbench. So the workbench is just look like that. So you have your interface, you have here the tools things, you have the file, you have the edit tool, you have the field tool, you have the query, the database, the server, and so. And here you have your teammate. Your teammate are just like your database. So your database. So here, the MySQL actually, when you are successful in the installation, comes actually with some basic schema like those kind of database. So the system database is here. So we are not going to use that. You have a database here, a name word database, and you will, if you scroll down this, you will see the tables. So you have three tables. So you can actually use those on to test your environment, to write some query to test actually your environment if it's working, and and it's that. And now you also have the circular database. This one I was exploring. I wanted to give you some tasks about that, but I've realized you have a big challenge for the week. I think the only one challenge you have actually is to be able to install the MySQL, the MySQL itself, the MySQL connector Python, and make sure everything is working. And actually, I think I even prepare something you can to challenge your environment about. Yes, so I'm coming to that. So this let me show the link for the tutorial which will help you install the MySQL workbench. It's just here in the stream Twitter data into MySQL database notebook. Yes, so here you can actually find it, and if not, you can just go in the internet and search for things by yourself, but I actually provide a link here. So now if I come back to the work, how do you actually select once you have your MySQL installed, you have your Python installed, you have your MySQL connector Python installed, how do you actually select raw data from MySQL table? Yes, so here you see now I have in my workbench here, I have some database. For example, I have circular database, and for this database, I even have table. And for those inside those table, I have the actor table, I have the address, I have the category. So from here, even if MySQL is closed, how can we actually connect with those database and extract, read the data from the actor table or from the any table else here? So how can we actually do that? This is what I want to cover in this notebook. So now the goals of this tutorial, you will know the following: MySQL select operation. Yes, I use select to, because the goal for this week is to test your environment. So select is the basic query you can actually write to test if you can actually get data, manipulate data with SQL environment. So if you set up everything good and in the right way, it should work. And if if the select works, I think everything else should work. So that's why I focus on the select, and I will show you with the select option, how do you get the connection open? How do you actually get the data from your MySQL, even if it's closed? And how do you actually print your data here and close then your connection? Yes. So once your data is here, you can actually use whatever you want to do Python calculation, pandas is there, everything. So everything you want. So if you have huge amounts of information, a very big data set, maybe the data set will be located in MySQL, maybe the data set will be located in NoSQL, maybe it's PostgreSQL, maybe in Microsoft SQL Server, or whatever you are using to save, to store your database. I think you should just be able to access your database from within Python. So now, as we did it with SQLite, we are going to do the same with MySQL. So we are going to select information from our circular database here right now. So now the steps are described as follows. So you will have to execute what are we going to learn? How to execute the select query and process the result set returned by the select query in Python. So how to use Python variables in a where clause of a select query. So all those, how to actually fetch all, how to fetch one or fetch menu method as a cursor class to fetch a limited row from our tables. Yes, so you should be able to do those things. So the prerequisites are just two. So before executing the program, make sure you have the following in place: your username and password. Yes, that you need to connect to MySQL. Yes, because if when you will be installing the MySQL, you will be asked to provide your password. You will be asked to provide your password. So now in the installation process, you will actually set up your password. And now your user name, you can, I think I write something somewhere here later to see. No, I think. Okay, exactly. So if you run this, select user, you will actually get your username. So my username is here, root. because I'm running locally, so I'm doing everything in my computer. So in a big company, you will be doing that in a server. So now there will be, I think, you will have a username which you will use plus your password. So here I set up my password myself, and I have my username by running this. So now, if I come back to the program, to the Jupyter notebook, yes, the I think next step is to have your MySQL database name. Yes, so you need the database name, and you need the table name. So inside the database, you are going to have a lot of tables, and for all of those tables, you are going to have relationship between the you guys know we covered this in the previous in the pre-assessment with the relationship about the tables is the basic things of a relational data model. So now you will need the database name, and you will need the name of the table you want to collect information from. In addition, you will need your username plus your password. So this is all we need to set up actually our connection. So what are the steps to fetch actually row from MySQL table? Yes, you need to install the connector using a pipe, which is the most easiest. You need to establish MySQL database connection from Python. You need to define the select statement query. You need to execute the select statement query using the qsub dot execute. You need to get the results set. You need to iterate over the results set. Close now your Python database connection. Yes, and everything else. So now this is I provide an example and test it with my own database to see if it's working. The objective of this is just to test your environment and make sure everything is working, because during the 12 week we are going to cover a lot of things. So some ways could just be related to SQL. How do you actually mine data, manipulate data, doing some pivot table, and so now if you have a lot of data, you are not going to use SQLite, for example, for optimization problem. You can just store your data in MySQL, and from your Python, get your data. So to do that, you need actually, suppose you want to build a machine learning model on those kind of data, actually store it in MySQL. You will need to secure a connection. You will need to make a connection between your MySQL and your Python. So this is the importance of testing your environment, your SQL environment here. So now this is how I did. I import, as I already installed the MySQL connector, I just import it. And once I import it, I set up the connection here. So this is very important. You use the MySQL dot connector function to actually set up a connection using the connect. So now the arguments are just the host name, the database name, the username, the password. That's why I was saying at the top, you need your username, your password, your database name, and your table name as input, as prerequisite. So now here, this is how we are going to use them. So you provide the host name. So the host name is actually the local host, because I'm running here in my computer, and the database name is actually the Sakila database. Remember, I show you in the MySQL server here, we have some database which comes with, we have the Sakila database, I create this one, the test database. Don't care about that. You can actually create any database you want. We have the Word database. So I just use to collect information actually from Sakila database. If it does work, this means that everything is set up well. So MySQL is running, Python is running, and the connector is running. So that's why I want to collect data from here to see. And coming back to the tutorial, yes, I provide all the information. So this was my password when I was setting up the, let me see, when I was installing the MySQL. Yes, so the password to access actually the master. I think there is a possibility to not actually use password if because I choose to use it, then I have it. If you don't choose to set up a password because you are running in your own computer, you can actually choose to not have a password. But when you are working with company ESP, you will probably have a password. That's why I chose to have it and show you at this time. So if you don't have a password, this is not a problem. You just have to remove this and it will work. So your host name here, your database name, your user, and your password. So now from there, you will have to select, write your SQL query statement. So select all from actors. Yes, actor is actually the name of a table actually located in the circular database here. So if I scroll this down, you will see the actor here. And we can actually try to select, yes, all information about the actor table. Let me see. Yes, so here you have in the result grid, you have actually, when you run the query in the query window, you actually get the result here in the result grid. So the result about this query, select all from circular dot actor, is actually located here. So you have the actor ID, the first name, the last update. So I want to collect all those lines from my Python using the connection I actually opened from Python to this database. So now coming back to my notebook, yes, you have your SQL statement. Then you have to use the connection case of this function to actually get the secure everything about to get the data from your tables. You have the SQL execute also, and you have the record which will be in which will have all your rows. So here I use the fetch all because I want to get all rows from the actor tables. If you want to get only one row, you have to use the fetch one uh something else. So now this is how I want to print my record. So if you record, then print the total number of row in actor. Okay, so this is just about the total number of row using the function row count. You will get the total number of row in my table. Yes, and now each record is actually here. So I actually use a Python for loop to print the row I will actually find. So the actor name is just the is just here. So I get it like that. So in the row, so I say it for row in record. So record is here. So for each row in record, actually select the first element, the second element, the third one, and give them a name and then print. So I did it like that. So now once you do that, you have to close your connection. So I already run it, but I can do it again. Let me see if okay. And it gives us the result. So now here you have the total number of rows in act. So you will choose to print that. We have 200 rows, and now the printing the each row. So the first one is about the actor one, which ID is one, and the first name is Penelope, and the last name is Kines. So Penelope Kines. Oh, Kines is actually a beer name. Okay, now let me check. So Penelope Kines, let me check here. So actually the first actor name is effectively Penelope and the last name is Kines, and you have the actor ID and you have the last update. So you really have information exactly like in your database. Store here, most likely like a Python, a Python dictionary. Yes, so you can actually reformat all those information to make them in the formatting as a data frame and then work on that as you want. Now, yes, I provide, of course, the how to understand the all the function I use to connect actually the MySQL and select query. So now the import MySQL, this will import the MySQL connector Python module in your program. Yes, you know that. Next, we use the MySQL dot connector dot connect method, which will connect to the MySQL database from Python. Yes. So now then we prepare the select query, yes, and then we actually use a connection.cursor method to get a cursor object from the connection object, yes. Now we execute the select operation using the execute method, yes, and so on and so forth. So you have description about everything we actually use in this function to get our data. So this is actually how we read data from MySQL to Python. Yes, but what if we want actually to write some data? So this week is about Twitter data mining, right? So I just prepared something to see. So I didn't run it. You will do it by yourself, but because you need to provide. So there is the use of Twitter API. So you will need to provide your credentials and things. So now, what I wanted to look at is how can we actually use the Python and an API to stream data directly into SQL. So we was able to read data from SQL to Python. Now, how do we actually stream data directly from an API to using an API to MySQL for Python? So here I use the Twitter API because I know this week challenge related to Twitter. So how do you actually stream the Twitter data into a MySQL database? Yes. So you require a few things to do that. So you require the Twitter account and API credentials. You actually need a MySQL database. Yes, and you need the 3P and the MySQL Connector Python library. So I already show you how to install the MySQL Connector library, and you already know how to install the 3P. But yes, you can do it again, nothing complex. So now, so here I provide again a short documentation about Twitter API. For those who don't understand it very well, you can also go for here to see again what is about. And here also I provide a MySQL workbench documentation. Yes. So basically, what we want to do here, is to get information from Twitter, to get data from Twitter, and basically I wanted to collect the information about the username of the person who wrote the tweet, the time it was created, the tweet, the retweet count, the place the tweet originated, and the location. Yes, so this corresponds to 6 colon plus the primary key, and we can define the data type as follows. So you can actually come into your database and create a database. So I was trying to do it yet. So you create a database, a command to do that. Create database. So you create database, Twitter DB, and you will create table. You will create table. So let me run this. Yes. So let me see if I have updates. Let me see. But what? Let me refresh. And I have the Twitter DB here. So you create your database, and inside your database, so for now you don't have tables. Yes, you don't have table. You cannot scroll down. You don't have table, but you have to create tables in this database. So the table we are going to create should reflect the format of data we want to collect. So here I define the format of the data we want to collect. So we want to collect the primary key. We want to set it up as an integer. The username as Vaka. Vaka is just a factor like categorical variables, and the created date as Vaka, the tweet as test, the retweet count, the location, the place. So we creating the table. We want to set up those kind of those data type for our columns, so that getting the data from Twitter, we could be able to stream them directly in our MySQL without any problem else. So we create the database in MySQL. We then create the tables, and then we define the data type of each column. And now we come to Python. So now, within Python, I think what we want to do is to collect data from Twitter. So we are going to use the Twitter API. Yes. So you guys already know how to do that. I just provide some description here to make the notebook clear, but you know about all that. Yes. So actually, in your code, what you really need to do is to, I think there are some steps. You need to collect data from Twitter. You need to, the data will be stored in your Python, and from there you will need to pass your data to MySQL. Yes. So you actually need to set up your credential for Twitter API, and you also need to set up your credential for your MySQL database. Suppose there are two doors. One does for getting data from Twitter, then you will have to talk the door so that it's open. So now you need your credential here, and now once you take your what you want, you have to close it and then move through the door where you are going to put what you just take behind. So here now you have the MySQL database. Then you need to enter with your credential also. So all those credential things, all those settings, you can actually use a setting file to make to set them all, and then call this file in your Python code using this. Yes. So once you do that, you just have to use what you previously set up, or you may just remove these steps and define your things directly in your Python. So now, all those things are the thing you already know about how to stream data from Twitter. Yes, about the API, how do we use the API? I just provide description you can go through to see later. So now here,
John, are you still talking? Sebastian?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Sebastian.
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you still hear John talking? Or
No, I can't hear him talking. Did you go offline?
yeah, I think so because I'm not hearing him anymore, and some people here also.
I think we've lost John.
Yeah, I think it's the internet probably. Um, I think he was almost done with the lecture, right? Hello, Mustafa, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Sebastian. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm there.
I think he was almost done with the lecture, right?
Yeah, it was almost at the end of the lecture.
Okay. Um,
Maybe he has some. Okay.
Mustafa, can you hear me?
Okay, it's back.
Yeah, John.
Okay, so it's working now. So where did you miss me? Was it long time ago or just now?
I think it was just some few minutes ago.
Okay. So I'm resharing. Anyhow, I was just finishing. So I'm resharing so that yes. So you have so you can see my screen right now, right? Do you see my screen? Okay, sure.
No, not yet.
So
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I see.
okay. So now then you have your your credentials fields. So from now the setting file you actually provide in your program to read directly your consumer key, your consumer secret, your access token, as well as your database password. You will actually read those things and store them actually in Python variables. So you have the consumer key, you have the consumer secret, you have the access, and you have the password to your database. So now you will just use them in all your program. Then so here, first we define a function. So a function to actually which actually take information like username. Once we already have a connected, we have data from Twitter, and we actually save our data. We have our data in our Python environment, and the data are maybe saving variables like user, like the creating date, like the tweet, the retweet count, the place, and the location. Then we'll just have to pass this data through our connection into our MySQL database. Yes. So here, this is why this function take as argument the user name, the creation, the creation date, the tweet, the retweet count, the place, the location, and everything else. So now, this is just how. So we already saw that. How do you actually open a connection from within your Python to your MySQL database? So here you provide the host name, the database name. So if you create this database in the MySQL, yes, I create it here. Then you will have to do the same. You create a database. It could just be your name. So you create it in your MySQL workbench, and then you get your username and your password. You already set it here. You can also give your username in the setting file and call it from here. So now from that, so this is not so important. And now from here, you will have to open your connection. So this code will actually open your connection. And once you are connected, you will have to use the connection, the cursor to actually pass your data, the data you actually have as input. You will pass this data into your database. Yes, your tables is already formatted to receive the data. Remember, at the beginning, I told you that here, this is how we want to format our table. Primary key, username, VACA, create it at, and so on and so forth. So now at the bottom, you will just pass as your table is ready to consume your data. You will just pass your data using the query statement and set into. So here is you will actually provide a table name. Yes. So if you are actually collecting information about golf, then you write golf. If you actually collect information about coronavirus, then you write coronavirus. And you will actually create this table in the MySQL database before you pass information. Yes, and then you will pass the username, you will pass the creator, you pass everything, every information you have. So now, once you do that, you commit. Yes, and you will not be able to see information in your database. Yes, the reason why I didn't do that here, I want you to do it by yourself because you are going to use your consumer key, yes, secret, and so and also your own password for your MySQL database and So all the code should work, and you just have to set things, and it's gonna work. Now, instead of using this, creating this file, you can just remove it and directly define all your information in your Python code. So it's because we import it in the environment, in the operating system, that we are using the operating system to get it from here. So you can actually remove that and simply use it in your environment directly. So now, dealing with Twitter data collection. So there is a function to pass data into a database once we already have data from where? From Twitter. So now, how do we get data from Twitter? Yes, we have a function which define that. And you guys already know that because you did it very well with Yabi, and this week or so you are going to work on that. So this is a function, so you can actually get the data. As we want specific information here, you have to specify the type of information you want in your code. So here we want the username, but how do we extract the username from the tweet? Yes, you are going to use the raw data, but here from the raw data you are going to focus on the user, and in the user you are going to catch the screen name. Yes. So, and now how do we get the creation date? Yes, you are just going to use it to use this code to get it, the parser. And now the tweets are just a test in the raw data, and the retweet count, you get it like that, and the place you also get the place here, and now the location you also get that. So all those information you saw, I just stored them as variables in Python. So we have location, we have retrieve, we have tweet, we have create that, and we have the username. So those information now are the one we are going to give an input to our first function username. So it will take those information as input and now use our connection to pass it through our database. We already set everything. So now this is all. So the following, you just have to read about the Twitter API. So what do you want to track? It depends on what you want to. So if you want to track some country, for example, about the coronavirus situation, or if you want to track something else, you just have to provide the word of the keyword. Yes, and you know that. So this is just to test your environment, to make sure, yes, we are aligned, to make sure, yes, you can actually use MySQL as well as SQLite. You can actually use them to do everything. So I provide also this notebook in your today folder, so you can actually download and go through. And I think it's okay. I take a lot of your time, I'm sorry. But it's all for this tutorial session. And thank you for following. If you have some question, yes, you can ask here, or you can also feel free to ask in the channel, in the Slack channel. People are here to help, and I'm also here. So if this can help you in your weekly challenge, great. Yes, so I think I did it. Yes.
Okay, Sam, thank you very much. So,
Yes.
guys, if you
Yes.
have
Okay.
conversation,
Yeah. Yeah. So if there is any question, just feel free to ask any question in the Slack channel. And I think I hope you are progressing in your weekly challenge also. I wish you good luck for that, and yes, you will make it. You will make it. So let's see. Let's talk another time if you don't have anything else to say. I will actually stop
so
there.
please,
Let me. Yes, I'm stopping
Sam.
there.